well, and no butternuts were identified in the black walnut area. Of the 72% of the species in the meadow and 30% of the species in the forest were non-native or exotic, which indicates that the meadow was basically more of a weedy, highly invaded area, whereas the forest understory was a more natural forest understory. All the native species that were identified were ranked as S5 or S4 in the province, and no species were ranked as S3, vulnerable or less, down to S1. In terms of ecological linkages, the Ojibway Shores sits at the end of the terrestrial corridor. Development would not fragment the terrestrial linkage across the natural areas that extend to the east. The Detroit River is a major aquatic corridor. It's also a major human transport corridor. And levels of boat traffic in the Detroit River limit the wildlife in this area to urban tolerant species. Corridor wisdom development projects typically range from 30 to 50 meters. Carolinian Canada's guide includes a 100-meter minimum wildlife corridor guideline. Environment Canada's guide of how much habitat is enough recommends a minimum 50 to 100 meters to support movement for wildlife. As of date, no species at risk were identified in the surveys. As I noted, additional information is coming in from IRGA and other conservation groups that will be considered in the final report. The site contains a forest with levels of disturbance common with urban areas. The wildlife that was found was generally common in urban areas for urban areas. And ecological connections to the Detroit River will be maintained through the 100-meter wide corridor. That is my presentation, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions, so we're here to take them. Again, I guess that's what we'll leave it.